It's your local urban sketcher from Hong Kong that's currently on vacation. I'm currently in Indonesia and I'm in an area basically in the middle of mountains and in the middle of nowhere. So there's a lot of fog behind me. As you can see, there is just nothing inside. And we're here because we're supposed to go on somewhat of a suspension bridge when it just started pouring rain like crazy. So we are hunkered down in this restaurant. And while we're hunkering down, we're waiting for the rain to subside, I thought it wouldn't be a bad idea to sketch. And so, because we couldn't really see anything, it's not like I could sketch the view because the view is basically non-existent. So what we're going to do instead is just to sketch a little bit of pitter-patter rain. I wanted to get these kind of flooring patterns because I feel like these are kind of uniquely Indonesian, or maybe they're available in other places, but it's something that's so ubiquitous, but I don't see it in Hong Kong. So I just wanted to capture a little bit of that and the rain splattering, because Indonesia is also a tropical country, so rain is quite a common sight. And let's get to it. So the scene that I wanted to draw is quite simple. It's just a bench with sort of the water splashing. The water has kind of subsided now, and I think one of the challenges of drawing in this kind of climate is also the lighting changes really fast. So it was super dark before and now it's really bright. The greens are a lot more yellower and not as blue or as cool in temperature. So these are the kind of things that we just have to deal with when we're urban sketching. This was actually such a fun day to go with my family to see a suspension bridge. But alas, stuck in the rain and unable to see anything else, I decided to draw the thing that was closest to me, which is the bench with a lot of rain falling down on it. And even though it must have looked like the most mundane thing to ever draw, but I don't know, I was quite attracted to kind of the pitter-patter sound the rain made when it just all puddled up and falls. I think back in Hong Kong, I don't have a lot of situations where I can just sit outside and enjoy the rain and truly just smell it and enjoy the scent. And because, that rain falling on grass really has like a really nice smell. A really relaxing one too, that just reminds you of a nap or makes you want a nap. So I'm just taking that in and I am enjoying the scene, and because of that, I decided to draw it. So the reason we moved here is because the rain got a little bit heavier, and then turns out at the top of the tent, or the covering, the roofing that was covering the table that I was at, because I wasn't exactly sitting inside the building but an extension of the building because I wanted to kind of be closer to the view and the nature, mainly because this restaurant is near kind of the edge of the mountain, so we're able to see the view. And yeah, it turns out there was a hole in that roofing, so the water just was falling through and it was dripping next to my sketchbook, which honestly I was fine with when I started, but then I realized that I can't keep having splashes onto my page because then my watercolors are never going to dry, and the area was already humid enough as is. So I decided to move to another spot in the table, and this is where the second part of the sketching commences out of 3, because then we will stop again in the middle later. Sorry if my English is really incoherent. After spending about 2.5 weeks in Indonesia and just speaking purely Bahasa Indonesia with my family and also a little bit of Javanese, I have completely forgotten how to speak English, and it took me a lot of struggling to form actually basic sentences even with my friends back here in Hong Kong. So I thank you for your patience, and I hope that my visual language through my video is actually speaking a little bit better and a little bit more coherently than I am at the moment. Another challenge that I actually just discovered, and which is where I'm recording this video, is in the middle I actually had to cut the sketch. So I am not done with my sketch just yet. And the reason for that being is because we're so high up, it's so humid. My 100% cotton watercolor paper is not drying. So whatever I put in is just softly bleeding into everything else. And oh my gosh, it is great, but also I kind of want to get the sketch moving on, but I just need to give it a break for a little bit. So such as sketching, and it's part of the joy. So what we're going to do now is actually, I'm with my family currently, so my dad is ordering food and we're going to have that in between. Now that the sketchbook page has somewhat dried just a little bit, not thoroughly, so there are like still some areas that are still super damp, so I'm still unable to get any hard crisp edges on those. But I thought that this would be a good time to put in the second layer where I could just highlight more of the details of the foliage at the back, the leaves, the grass, and also the plants that are right behind this bench, the tree trunks at the back. But I'm always struggling with using that background layer and also just redrawing everything, because I feel like that's what I end up doing is I put a first layer and then I just paint all over that again. And I don't think that's the point of having an underpainting. Again, a problem that I really need to figure out how to solve. And so right now I'm just trying to see that white of water drop, and I realized that the surrounding areas are not dark enough, and therefore the white doesn't stand out. So what I'm going to try to do now is I try to build that contrast to make sure that the white is somewhat visible. Alright, that is going to be it from me in this video. Thank you so much again for tuning in, for watching in. Let me know if you've ever sketched up high up in the fog or in altitude or in high humidity before, how you deal with it, because it's not like we can just bring around a temporary sort of hairdryer or heat gun with us everywhere we go, right? But yeah, it's exciting to do that. I'm really excited to do more adventures and to sketch more here. As always, thank you so much for being here. Happy sketching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!